This episode is sponsored by SmartVestor. Connect with an investing pro for free at RamseySolutions.com/invest. You're listening to Ramsey Everyday Millionaires, where we talk investing, retirement, building wealth, and outrageous generosity.
Claire is with us in South Bend, Indiana. Hi, Claire. How are you?
Hi, Dave. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Well, first, I just want to tell you really quick. I met my husband. One of the first dates we had, he told me that his dad raised him with the Bible in one hand and a Dave Ramsey book in the other. That's how I kind of was introduced to you, so I thought that'd be funny to kind of share.
That's a little scary, actually. Cool.
Well, it's led us on some good paths here. So,
good. How can we help?
Today I'm calling. I wanted to ask you, as you both know, daycare costs are really high. We are expecting our second child in August, which we're really excited about. We both work, my husband and I, full time, and so daycare is our option in life right now. When it comes to trying to figure out in our budget, we're on baby step 4, 5, 6, kind of like how to best budget for the upcoming expense of daycare. We are kind of at a loss with, we can't afford it, and that's not an issue, but it's where does it come out of? You know, we're trying to figure out with our budget, does it maybe impact us right now we're putting 15% each into retirement for a season until my older son can go to a less expensive daycare. Do we put maybe 10% into retirement each? So we have a little bit more room to give to the daycare for our second child when he goes to daycare, or, you know, kind of trying to figure that out.
What's your household income?
We currently make $121 a year.
Okay, so 15% is $20,000. Okay.
Yeah.
And daycare is how much?
Right now, we pay $311 a week for our son. So that's roughly, depending on the month, it could be between 1,500 and 1,200, 1,500.
Mm-hmm.
But with the second child, we get a small 10% discount, and it could be anywhere between $2,100 a month to $2,700 a month at the daycare we're currently at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it'll be $3,000 a month is what you guys will be paying. Yep, in daycare. And how much do you make a year?
So I currently make $55 a year.
Okay.
And my husband makes, I think when I broke it down, it's $65.
Oh, that's right. You said 121 household. Yep. Sorry. I had that number. Okay. Yep. That's great. Yeah. Do you guys have, Claire, margin in your budget when you budget month to month? Do you have money that you're putting away in savings just for other things? Is there, what does your budget look like?
Yeah, so typically in a month we put towards retirement and some other savings about $1,300, and then extra we have left over for gas. We donate to our church, groceries, household items, utensils, toilet paper, things like that. So we do have, we budget as closely as we can with everything, but just trying to figure out when before baby comes and everything else, like how much more do we save? And then that will only last us for so long. And again, this is only for a short period of time because our son could go to a different daycare when he's 4, the oldest, and it would be a third of the cost. So it's not going to be forever that we would be in this predicament, but just for a short period of time, we're just going to be at a higher daycare cost.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think in a perfect world, you're finding that margin other places and what that looks like, because that 15% is, I mean, that's a key part for you guys in the future. And so I don't know what other lifestyle expenses look like of shoring those up. Maybe saying, hey, we got to find some margin other places in that budget, because I think that's the hard thing too. The reality of oh my gosh, kids, they cost a lot, and especially when you're talking about an expense like daycare. It's so pricey. So yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, you would find that extra $1,300 elsewhere. But for you guys, you don't, at that point though, you don't have an option. And for me, childcare
for $30,000 a year, I'm going to start looking at alternatives too. I'm not going to just accept that as the only possible method.
Yeah, and that's something I started to look into as well.
Yeah.
The one other option we discussed was not contributing to the 529 plan for a little while for our son because my mom's contributing.
No, I'm talking about other daycare options.
Yes, that too.
Yeah.
We have looked at other daycare options.
$30,000.
Yeah, but $311 a week. I mean, that's pretty standard. I mean, that's not unreasonable. That's not an unreasonable amount.
But it gives me a lot of thoughts when I start talking about $30,000 a year.
Yep.
I can start thinking about a lot of different things then. So, but yeah, I would look at all that. And I'm with Rachel. Probably one of the last places I would go would be to the retirement.
I would do 529 before retirement.
Yeah, I would. I agree.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
I'd pull that off, and then I really would honestly look at alternatives on the daycare because it's such an onerous amount as a percentage of your budget that they have priced themselves out of somebody who makes $120,000 a year.
Mm-hmm. And that's
they price themselves out of it, and so you're not far from affording a nanny for $30K. I mean, not far at all. So, I mean, it can be done. So I start thinking about it different. It's kind of like, if you're going to charge me $120,000 a year for a nursing home, for $120,000 a year, I can hire a full-time in-house butler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't do everything.
Buy a reclining bed.
Yes, I know, but I know her feel, and I've done the research even locally, like the moms that work here at Ramsey. I'm like, it is a crazy expense, and then you ask us for so many women. You ask the question, is it even worth it? Right? Because it's the $20,000 extra. So instead of making $121, we make $100. Is that worth, right? I mean, like you play out all these different scenarios, but it does this part though. It makes me, as a mom with little ones, it sucks because they have trapped us in a sense. It can feel like that with the prices. They go up as people,
there's a supply demand curve. I mean, when you raise the prices,
so they're open, they stay open, they're paying it.
Well, when price raises to a certain point, the volume comes down. That's supply demand, and so they're reaching the top of this. Because this has been a discussion like 10 times in the last year.
Well, yeah, and it's like 37%. It's risen since 2020. Yeah, I'm like, it's crazy. It is crazy. Yeah. So they will end up, and that's what we talk to so many women that just end up saying, hey, I'll stay home, right? Like if you have 3 kids, right? I mean, you start to actually see that.
I'm working 40 hours, and after taxes and daycare, I net $5,000.
Right.
Screw that.
Right.
No, thank you. That doesn't make sense.
Yep.
And she's almost there. She's almost there. Not quite with her numbers, but
well, and the 4-year-old will go to a less expensive school, right? So there's
you got a light at the end of the tunnel with that.
Exactly.
That's
exactly. I know, but that's so hard, Claire. So hard. I hope that's helpful.
Yeah. Thanks for calling.
Thanks for tuning in to Ramsey Everyday Millionaires. To learn more about how to plan for retirement, visit RamseySolutions.com/retire or click the link in the show notes. Ramsey Solutions is a paid non-client promoter of participating pros. Learn more at RamseySolutions.com/SmartVestor.